Get them fired up and get them to the staging lanes, baby, because 8th Mile Apparel is now carrying Going Bracket Racing merch. Hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and much more can be yours today by visiting 8thmileapparel.com. We appreciate each and every one of you guys supporting the Going Bracket Racing YouTube and Facebook pages.
It's November 14th, 2023. It's getting dark outside already. I don't like it. It's a little bit cold, too. It's cold up here in my office. I might have to reach over and turn the heat on here in a second. But we got to thank TSR Racing Products for your Power Glides, Turbo 350s, Turbo 400, 727 transmissions, BRG 3D printed parts. Anything you need, get it from Brian Garrett over there at BRG Syntex Printing. Print up your flyers, everything you need. Hey, PRI's coming up. You might need something. Contact them over there at Syntex Printing out there in Temple, Texas. They'll get it over to you and get your products out there. Driven Racing Oil, best methanol oil, hands down. I've been saying that all day long, every single day, especially whenever it's cold outside. Use code GBR10, get yourself 10% off. Proform Parts, visit proformparts.com for your carburetors, alternators, starters, radiators, distributors, tools, and much, much more. And Crew Chief Pro software, because if you're still racing right now, you don't know what it's going to run anymore. It could go either way. It could be 80 degrees outside here in North Carolina. It could also be 30 degrees outside North Carolina. Loose rockers going on this weekend. There'll be a couple blind runs. You might need that Crew Chief Pro. Contact Don over there and get that in order. And of course, if you want these hats, these right here, you need to visit 8thmileapparel.com. You get that shirt George is wearing, get a shirt I'm wearing right here. I know our guest has some shirts and hats coming. George, what's going on, man?
Man, I'm going to call it out right now, Casey, and everybody on GBR can already see it. Your internet connection's a little bit slow. So something's going on in the way of some clouds in the sky out there. I don't know what the deal is, but hey, we'll make sure we bring a good show to you. Casey will get his woes taken care of likely during commercial break there, but we ain't going to cut you short. Casey, nothing much going on here. I heard from a birdie on the wall that old 8th Mile Apparel has that Door Trucks Rule shirt coming out. And I know a lot of people have asked me for that shirt. I never had it on hand in order to sell it or give it away. 8th Mile Apparel is going to have it. That plus other slogans. So if you like a slogan to go behind the GBR logo, send them on over to us. I think 8th Mile Apparel might be able to accommodate us, especially the funny ones. So I'd like to have some pretty neat slogans on the back, Casey. But yeah, man, I'm pretty sure old Mo's up for the year. Going to get some antifreeze put in him, even though it's really not going to get that cold in my garage. I don't run by risks. So let's go ahead and get some antifreeze in that bad boy and get him winterized and get ready for next year. Might be some changes coming, Casey. I don't know what you got going on.
Man, I'm still hoping to go racing this weekend as long as the weather's nice. I was hoping to go racing last weekend, but I'm not 100% certain. I'm not 100% certain what's going on. I fought with this crank trigger, got it all figured out, got the alternator back lined up and everything, and then all of a sudden it rained out at Kinston last weekend, so there wasn't anywhere for me to go. Coastal's got a big Thanksgiving race. I know a local sponsor put up another $1,000 to win on top. So hopefully that all goes well. I think that's the route that I'm going to take. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, George. I don't know.
I heard that, man. I heard that. I'm going to, Casey, I will give you the honor of introducing our guest today. And this ought to be pretty fun. Heard a lot about this old cat here, and heard he got to hoist that old win not too long ago. So Casey, bring him on the stage. Let's get ready for a good episode of going bracket racing.
Yeah, man. You better bring in my buddy Scott Lewis, man. This is a guy that's been one of the first people I ever met out here whenever I moved out here, man. And I appreciate him and his old man and his whole family. They've always been nothing but nice to me. They've always been accommodating and always Scott was, when I very first met him, the very next time, he's like, man, why'd you park way over there? I was going to let you come over here. You plug into my electric over here and everything, and we'd all be good to go. But Scott, what's going on, man? You have a hard day at work?
Yeah, it was pretty tough today. I mean, we stayed pretty busy on a day-to-day basis. So,
man, that's pretty cool. So you have the honor of knowing Casey, my homeboy Beckmeyer. I call him Swizzle for those who don't know.
Call it
everybody knows his name is Swizzle now. I don't even think I've ever aired that on GBR, Casey, but your nickname is out there. So anyway, hey, before the end of this stream, if you have anything funny to say about that cat, I'm all ears. Man. Give me something. He took a mile or a super Walmart or drove back to Clayton and forgot the lift at the big end or something like that. Tell me if you got any funny stories. But no, man. So you know how we do it here. I heard you're a longtime follower. Shout out to you. Shout out to your dad for being part of the GBR community. Man, all we love is bracket racing. I can tell you love it as well. I can definitely tell that. Never met you before, but it blows through my computer screen. He loves bracket racing. So that's what I'm talking about. But you got to tell everybody out here how you got into bracket racing.
Well, basically, it all started with my dad. You know, before I come along, my dad's always raced. When I was born, I was out there under the carport. We didn't have a garage. We didn't have a shop. The car sit under the carport, and I was out there with him at 2 years old trying to take the wheels off the car with a four-way lug wrench, knowing good and well I couldn't do it. But if I was outside, my mom would have to keep an eye on me from the door, because if she turned her back and Dad was working on the car, I'd be underneath it working with him. And then, you know, time went on, and we actually stopped racing for a little while and started getting back into it. And Dad had got me a junior. So I was like, cool, I get a junior. And then he called and ordered me one, and the truck was on its way to deliver my car, and it got in an accident in the mountains and went off the side of a mountain and destroyed my car.
Oh.
So they called my dad and was like, we can give you your money back, or we can order you another car, but it'll be another 6 months before you can get it. So Dad said, just give me my money back. And then I grew up and would go racing time to time. And then I started going on Thursday nights on a testing tune. And my mom and dad got wind of me running four-wheelers up and down the racetrack. So when they got wind of that, he was like, hey, let's fix this car and let's go racing. And we've been doing it ever since. Between the car I learned on to the car I have now, it's just been a nonstop thing, just something that me and him do, and we share, and we have a good time doing it.
I heard that.
Awesome, man. And speaking of the Camaro, man, that's a pretty nice car. I want to hear a little bit more about that, because to be honest with you, I know you've told me before, but I forget, like, what keeps that car moving, man? Like, what's in it for motor, things like that?
It's got this, I mean, nothing real special. It's got a 434 in it. It's some aftermarket block Brodex heads on it. Power glide, the norm for a bracket car. I mean, it's nothing real special. I ended up getting the motor from a friend of mine that he had blew it up, and I took the time and re-put it back together. I found the same identical rods in it that were in it. I found another set of it. So I basically put that motor back to how it was originally. And with the weight of the car, with what it's running, I think it's doing pretty good for the weight of it.
Yeah,
So
what does it weigh? Is
it
it
weighs with
3,200?
no, with me in it, it's like 5 or 10 pounds shy of 3,100 pounds
Yeah.
with me in it.
Yeah,
So
man. But George, I mean, you saw a picture of this car in the picture that I put up at least, and man, it's a really nice car. It's a car that me and Dad always talked about having a super stock style car that matched his Camaro back in the day, and his car was kind of the chassis car of that. Only it was a '96 Camaro, but we always talked about it. That was always Dad's dream, was to have a back half car that matched his chassis car, and that would have been exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, I heard that, man. Yeah, and it definitely looks like a nice old car. And obviously, it could find the winner circle, which we'll get into as we continue through this stream. So, man, I got to know a little bit about your dad and understand that's probably one of the the saddest stories I heard about a junior dragster. And thanks for bringing that to GBR. GBR, you know, the community's not necessarily heard the downs of getting into it. You're still here, right? But tell me
oh yeah.
something about your old man. I've heard a little bit through Casey that he's been in the sport for quite a long time. And give us a little bit of your old man's history while you're here.
Well, I mean, my dad, you know, before I come along, he had worked for the local Chrysler dealership for 30 something years. So, and he's always been into the cars, or he's done construction or drove 18 wheelers. So we've always done something with a vehicle, some sort or equipment. And when he was racing and started racing and stuff, he didn't have nobody to go with him. My mom would go as time went on, but my grandpa actually went to one race with him one time and came back and said, "That's not for me."
Hmm.
So he just from then on out, that's been his thing. He'd go racing with some more friends of ours around the town that we live in, and most of them are gone now. So it's just him and me and him. That's what we do. So, but yeah, he's worked all of his life. He's now retired. So a lot of stuff, if I need a little something done on the car, if he's able to do it, he'll get out there and do it. So I don't have to come home late or have to do it on a weekend or something like that if there's something else that we have going on.
So something to keep him busy, huh? I know my old man
Yep.
talks about that all the time. He's out there and just finished up his dragster, and I think he just put a new cam in the Corvette. As we may have tore something up in that motor, but we got it all put back together, I guess. But he always says, I get a chance to go out to the shop and stay busy. He's a retired man too, who's about to end up in snowbird heaven, I'm pretty sure, here in about the next month or so. And so I won't be able to get a hold of him. Actually, I'll get a hold of him, but if I need something out of the garage, I'll just have to wait until he gets home. So that's going to be around April. But it's definitely good to be able to keep them moving. And that way, you know, they don't just sit up there and the bones get brittle. I bet your old man probably still gets around pretty good just because of the ability to go out and work in the shop, you know.
Yeah, for the most part, he gets around pretty good. He has his good days and his bad days, but I'm trying. I'm wanting to trying to get the Firebird back together to see if I can get him back in that car. At least run foot brake maybe once or twice before.
Now I have a question,
Happen, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
because I didn't know Mr. Ricky was a Chrysler man. So how all of a sudden everybody got GM cars now we're talking about?
Because they strong.
Because that's usually a Mopar or no car type thing.
Well, I mean, he just worked on them at the dealership. He was never a fan of them, but you know, he knew people needed somebody to work on those cars. So, and it's funny because my first car that they ever bought me was a Dodge Daytona.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
yeah. And so I've had a Dodge, and we actually got the motor out of another car and rebuilt the motor. The stuff that he knew would go bad, we actually built in a 10 by 10 metal barn like you buy at Lowe's. We put this motor back together and put it in this car, and painted it, and I took it to car shows and stuff. So, I mean, we've had Dodges in the past, and we got a Dodge 1500 truck. So it's just Chevrolets are more funner to race because, you know,
Yeah,
you
and
can do a
less
lot more with it.
and less heartache to pay for.
True statement.
Most of the time. But
Plus a lot more horsepower, a little bit more in it. In my
Yeah, a
opinion.
little bit cheaper on the wallet too. You know?
Yeah.
yes, that's what matters most, man. But Scott, man, before we get into all this, you know, because you're the man right now. You won the race there was to win, because now you're the man for the rest of the year. That's the race to win, because now you can be like, oh, I'm done for the winter. But before we get into that, so whenever I think of Scott Lewis, and I talk to people about this before I did the show and everything, I think of positivity, man, because you're always happy. You're always having a good time. I've never seen you have a frown on your face, and especially at the racetrack, man, because racing throws a curveball every single time we're out there. You know, something's always going to happen. It's always going to be frustrating. But how do you always stay happy, man, whenever you're at the track? Because I think a lot of people could learn from that.
I mean, I take everything in the moment, and if I get mad or I get upset, I just kind of walk off and take myself a deep breath and say, "Hey, I'm here at the track. Everything's good. Just calm down, relax. Everything will be all right." And that's how I try to take it.
I mean, I agree, man, and it's easier said than done. Everybody knows that, but I think a lot of people could take a page out of your book on that whole deal, because I mean, it's just, we're at the racetrack to have fun. There's very few people there that are even attempting to make a living, and you know, your hobby's your hobby for a reason. But like I said, man, I've never seen you. I've never seen you. I can't think of the word I'm trying to say right now, but I've never seen you discouraged or disparaged, either one. I've always seen you just, you know, you could be winning the race and you're happy, and you could be, you know, fourth round and out and you're just as happy. It's like you're just happy to be there, and that's what racing's all about.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that. Everybody could take a page from that book, to be honest, Casey. I actually pride myself for being quite the same. Unless I'm in the truck by myself, it's almost like I go cry in the car. You know what I mean? And so be it. But outwardly, I don't really want to bring down the kind of the mood of everybody else. You never know who's still in the race around you and things of that nature. And that's a pretty good trait to have right there, Scott. I'm glad that you got that trait. Teach Casey now. He's a pretty laid back gentleman too. But you know, good trait to have. Hopefully a lot of people will pick up on that, man. But hey, we come to a good spot in the stream to go ahead and give our marketing partners a good chance to get their products out in front of the GBR community. Hang in there. Make sure you hit that like and share button while you're here, and we will be back with Scott. A couple more questions. Don't go anywhere. BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts are able to provide you with whatever you desire to enhance your drag racing operation. Items like safety belt magnets, nitrous bottle holders, and even quick release delay box mounts are able to be obtained from BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts. Have a look at top selling items such as helmet hooks and steering wheel hooks, which are proven to make it easier to maneuver throughout your race car. You can contact BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts at telephone number 765-729-1177.
TSR Racing Products has everything you need to make your Powerglide Turbo 350, Turbo 400, and 727 transmissions the best they can be on the street or at the track. With exceptional products, customer service, and over 30 years of experience, TSR Racing Products is always available to help their customers with any of their transmission needs. In-house machining ensures you only receive the best products from TSR Racing. Visit TSR Racing Products at tsr-racing.com or give them a call at 800-394-5889.
Our third-generation slim wireless vehicle scale is worth the wait. You can read cross weight, side-by-side weight, and front and rear weight, in addition to the standard weight for each wheel and total vehicle weight. You can also view on the included backlit LCD screen, complete with control buttons. The full-size 15 by 15 inch aluminum scale pads are only 1 5/16 inches thick. Each pad can hold up to 1,750 pounds for a total scale capacity of 7,000 pounds.
Get them fired up and get them to the staging lanes, baby, because 8th Mile Apparel is now carrying Glowing Bracket Racing merch. Hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and much more can be yours today by visiting 8thmileapparel.com. We appreciate each and every one of you guys supporting the Glowing Bracket Racing YouTube and Facebook pages.
All right, welcome back. Glowing Bracket Racing community. We can't thank you guys enough for sticking in there with us every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. I always say that backwards. I don't know why. I'm calibrated to Central time zone, so hey, don't hold it against me, guys. But thanks for being there. Thanks for hitting that share button. I see the shares going up as we speak over here on the good old Facebook side. And thanks for chiming in. Any questions that you might have, go ahead and ask away. We'll get them out to Scott, or any comments or conversation you might want to have. We might be able to throw in some curveballs to Scott. It seems like he could probably handle it. So special shout out, Ken Jones Performance, Crew Chief Pro, ProFormParts.com, Team 14 Motorsports. Your ad here. I know you know who those guys are, those guys that go on bracket racing. If you need anything, it's the best customer service, hands down. You won't beat it anywhere, I'm sorry. And that's just the way it is. Syntex Printing, thank you for everything that you do. TSR Racing Products, BRG 3D printed motorsports parts. They'll make anything you want. I'm living proof. My bump down button wasn't centrally located. It is now, thanks to BRG, right there on my wheels. So, and 8th Mile Apparel coming on board. I think you can order until maybe December 15th and still get Christmas presents. So keep that in the back of your head if you're looking to buy something for someone for Christmas. Those hoodies are nice. Those hats are really, really nice. Shirt, actually, everything on the site's nice. So have a look, see what you think. Driven Racing Oil, thank you for all you do. That methanol oil, the GP1 that you got, is spot on. Keep up the good work. Best oils out there, in my own opinion, okay? So, Casey, let's keep it moving, man. We're going to talk about a huge event that you guys have the ability to race at, both of you. And somehow you didn't wind up racing against each other in top there, but that's always a good thing, too, as you're dodging each other through the lanes. But let's talk about Halloween Havoc at Galot. Number one, we're going to stop right here with the huge car count. Somebody give thoughts to why that race is so successful. I think I have a clue, but I want to hear it from you, Scott. Why do you think that race is so successful car count-wise?
Well, I think the race really is so successful because, one, you don't have many tracks that are running the end of October. It just leaves the door wide open for somebody to be able to put on a big race like that. They've done it every year since, really, I think they've been open. They've done it for eight years. So, and it's always a good turnout. I mean, it's good for families with the kids, let them trick or treat, stuff like that. And it's the only time in a way too that it really brings out a lot of spectators. And I mean, like I said, it's a good weekend because there's nobody else racing.
Right. And we got some special shout outs to you here too. Ashley Allen says, "What's up, Scott Lewis?" And here's a quick question out of Jesse Bignall. I think I'll go ahead and take this time. I know it's a little bit off of the subject of Halloween Havoc Galot, but it does give us a feel since you won that event. He's wanting to know what ET your car runs, and if you like being chased or if you like doing the chasing. Seems to be that whole chase or chasing deal there seems to be a comment or a question that everybody in bracket racing is talking about right now. What are your thoughts on that question from old Jesse Bignall?
Being chased or chasing people, I mean, to me, it's fun either way. I mean, I get chased a lot. So when I get the opportunity to chase somebody, it just makes it that much funner. With my car running into 640, 650 range, I mean, I'm right there in the middle. So I mean, it's not very often I really get to chase anybody. But when I do, it's pretty much a close enough where it's almost head to head. So it makes a really exciting time whenever you get down there to the other end.
Right. Awesome. Casey, you got a preference before I get to part B to this Galot question?
I don't know. There's always a time and place for everything kind of thing. It's I've been on one end a lot of times, and I've been on the other end a lot of times with my blue car. I've always kind of been slower all the time. It's as long as you're not right there with everybody, I feel like I feel like, see, I always, Daniel Morton, Scott. I run Daniel Morton or Adam Booyah every single run, it seems like. It's if I'm not running one, I'm running the other one, probably 50% of my runs. And I had a run I remember specifically with Daniel earlier this year, and it's actually on one of our very first race vlogs we ever did. And I said, man, I don't know what I can run right now because the weather's crazy and the wind will start blowing, the headwind, because Galot sometimes it'll be like 10-mile-an-hour headwind and then it'll just stop. And then one guy will go way under and the next guy will go way over. And everybody's like, what's going on here, Well, anyway, so I was like, I have no idea what I can run, so I'm going to dial up a whole bunch because I know Daniel's going to tree the crap out of me because him and Travis are always, if they're not red, then they're 005 or better.
Right.
And I was like, I at least don't want Daniel to know he treed the crap out of me until the end type thing. So, I mean, it's, I don't know. It can go either way, but I think at the end of the day, everybody's got to go dead on. It doesn't matter if you're holding numbers or if you're dialed honest or whatever. It's just, you got to do what you got to do and, do whatever it takes to get back to dead on because ultimately the best package wins. And that is what it is. That's what my buddy Alan Boykin says all the time. Best package wins. It doesn't matter how you get there. You just got to get there.
It's kind of the name of the game too. And I'm glad you mentioned weather, Casey, wind, different curveballs that you get thrown at the track because during Halloween Havoc, you guys out at Galot seem to get thrown quite the curveball where two from big giant race. So tell me you guys' thoughts on that. Did your shoulders off a little bit? Was it any different for you?
I mean, it really wasn't just, with them going to that one big race, it was like, okay, you got one time run on Saturday. You got to get through first and second round. And once you get through that, that's when the real racing starts.
Right.
And that's when you got to really buckle down really hard. And I mean, that's just the way I took every single round. I tried to take a deep breath and clear my mind and go in and just do the best that I could do and hope that I could bail myself out or the car could bail me out. And that's pretty much just how I took every single round.
That makes sense, man.
And when it comes, I was just going to say, whenever it comes down to it, it was awesome because in the final or in the semis, it was all Galot people in the semis. It might have been all Galot people in the at 8 cars. And the reason I say that is because last year, Galot's always been known, and it's known across the country as one of the hardest places to race in the country. And then you have someone like Kyle Cotrera come in and basically sweep both classes last year. And everybody's like, well, what are they talking about over here? Well, let me tell you this, George. We got, at 4 cars at least, we got Scott, obviously. We got Michelle Pilo, who won, 4 or 5 races this year? Or was that last year that she won the championship?
Points championship.
Yep. Okay. The points championship last year.
T.G. Pascal, one of the best racers in the country, period. Won so many races in PDRA Top Dragster that I want to say he didn't even go to the last one either last year or the year before and still won the championship. And he was out racing the loose rocker at Piedmont.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Blaine Parrish, who's not only his old man is drag racing royalty out here, but Blaine, in my opinion, is one of the best racers out here. And he's extremely young, man. He's got a long way to go. If he could travel the way Corey Galletti travels, he's that level, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And that's who Scott beat in the final. Blaine said he bumped it red in the final. He was like, 2 or 3 red? But Scott was still right. Yeah, Scott was right there anyway. So, I mean, they both would have been, you were ready for him regardless of what happened. So, I mean, I don't even know where I was going with that, man. I got on a rant. I do that sometimes. I don't even know where I was going with it. But let's just keep talking about Halloween Havoc, man, because, you know, Galot has some of the biggest local bracket racing car counts in the country. There's a lot of tracks that, you know, there's tracks closing every day because they're getting 30 cars, they're getting 20 cars, can't have enough to stay open. We never have that problem at Galot. In fact, we have the opposite problem where there's so many cars that we have to do things like this and combine 2 races into one big race. And, you know, that has its own issues. But this is something I wanted to ask you because you are a guy who's been out there a lot and we've seen it both ways. What's your opinion as far as the combining of the races whenever this many cars show up? Because this happens at these major events all the time lately. Like, that's why the Spring Fling at Bristol went to single entry and it's still sold out in 3 minutes. Would you rather have, like, I guess the options would be you run 2 races like they say. We'll just take Halloween Havoc, for example. 2 races like they say, like the flyer reads, and run it until we get to curfew and split and then start over the next day? Would you rather have combined it into one big race? I know that worked out for you, but you can't use that to make your decision here. Or like cancel doubles or buybacks, or what's your opinion in that scenario?
I mean, I see it both ways. Me, I like to, if I'm there for the weekend, I like to race for 2 days. Given the car count, because this ain't the first time I've run into a big car count and they've had to combine races. Because back when we had COVID, I went to the Memorial Day race at Rockingham, and we had 600-700 cars, and we couldn't finish the race even if we started one. So they ended up taking 2 of the days and combining them together to be able to try to finish. Me being a single entry person, I don't double enter. When you have big car counts like that, I feel like a track has to do what they have to do to get a race in, whether it get rid of buybacks or limit the single entries. I mean, the one time run thing, I've done both. I've raced in the past where you got two time runs and you go racing. And right here now is the norm is you make one time run and you go racing. I mean, so I see both sides of it, but I just, with the big car counts, I just feel like the track has to do what they have to do to make it where they can get a race in. So you're not sitting there thinking, oh, well, there's no sense in me really trying hard. I just need to get down to X round and I'll get money. You know,
Right.
Together and give yourself something to really shoot for.
Right. And now I want to ask you, and I'm sure you've heard me say this on here, but I don't know if I've ever asked you directly. Obviously, it wouldn't work in this scenario, but for some of these larger races where you know you're going to have a huge turnout, and obviously doubles are allowed and things like that, what's your opinion on my idea of whenever the cars show up, you have the choice to double enter, and then you have no buybacks, period. You don't have any option for a buyback. Or you have the option to single enter, and then if you need a buyback, you can have it. If you don't need a buyback, then that's cool. You save money. Make it the same as the entry fee. Don't make it half of whatever, because normally it's like, say, $100 entry fee, $50 buyback or something. Make it $100 for a buyback because it's a second entry. That's fine. But what's your opinion on something like that? Do you think that that would hurt things in the long run? Because obviously the double entries are what allows us to run for the amount of money that we race for. But on the other hand, the double entries are the reason why you need to be running for that much money, because you need to justify paying twice as much money every time you race potentially.
I mean, I feel like that's a good idea, because it gives the person that can't double, even though the buybacks are more, it still gives them a chance saying, okay, if I mess up, first round, I can at least get back into the second round. Unlike people that double, they go up there and they come right back within 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you know, and they come right back up and make another hit. And they've had time to make adjustments to where their car is going to be more in closer together, consistent wise, than would be somebody say that singled entered. That's got to wait for a whole nother round.
Right. And what's always, I guess, going off the same thing, what's always been crazy to me, because where I grew up and where George grew up, there's no such thing as double entry. Right. I mean, technically, I guess double entry would be you could run Super Pro quarter mile and Super Pro eighth mile.
Correct.
But that's a big difference between running the same class, because you're beating on your stuff quarter mile and you're coming right back around and running eighth mile. If you're still doubled and there's, you know, if you're still doubled in about third round, you're kind of wishing you didn't be doubled anymore. But yeah. But I mean, the thing that's always blown my mind is that double entries get 2 time runs. So you're already advantaged in my mind. And I will double sometimes. Like I told you earlier this year, I said, hey, it's too much for me to have to, when my baby was little, which, you know, my son and your son are about the same age. Whenever he was little, I was like, man, it's too much for me to race 2 days because I'm by myself out here and I got to go home and get things in order and go back to work at 6 a.m. on Monday. And, you know, so I would double on one day. I personally believe that you have an advantage of being doubled. And what I think's crazy is that you're doubled and now you get 1 time run per entry. So now you're getting an extra time run on everybody too, but you're doubled. It's everybody should just get 1 and let's go, you know?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Scott.
That's how I feel. I mean, if you come in and you're doubled, I mean, if you make that 1 time run with that 1 entry, that's all you need. I mean, not unless you're trying to set yourself up for first round, you know, for whatever lane you get in. If you race at a track enough, you should know the difference between the lanes and be right there around where you need to be with just one hit. I mean, the only advantage is being doubled if they get a second time shot and they screw up the first shot, they got another shot they can come back and make adjustments to before the race starts. As to where a single entry person, they can't do that. They got to make, like myself, you got to make changes and hope you made the right one come first round.
Yep.
So
let me throw another wrinkle in there too, because the beauty of being able to have 2 time hits means you have the beauty of setting up twice at the tree. And honestly, probably everybody on this call right now and several of the people watching in here right now have vehicles in today's age, and there may be a few who are not quite there as far as for consistency level, cars that run fairly well and close to the spread. If you're able to set up, get 2 good hits at the tree, and then come into round 1, you are going to be in a better position off the tree, in my opinion, probably by 70%. Because you've got 2 hits. That means you've got the ability to say, okay, I was 40 the first hit, I pulled out 40, and I was 000. I hope that ain't the case, because that's a huge spread, right? But you see what I did there. I could throw 10 back and be set 10 and not touch it again for the rest of the day, technically, right? So there's a lot to that. I would actually lobby for, even if you're doubled, everybody gets 1 time run. I don't care if you're doubled or not. You can get double the first round, but you can't have double the time run. That's kind of what I'd lobby for.
A lot of time, man. Scott, I don't know if you noticed, a lot of people have been going to Roxborough lately. And Roxborough did you see Michael Crumpler texted me about it, and he's like, see this for Roxborough. And first of all, I've heard that Roxborough's a great place to go. I've never been there racing yet, but Danny Waters actually said also that he went there one time this year, and it was a really cool time going there. And I've heard a lot of people say that's going to be a place to be next year. So good for Roxborough. So we'll have to run up that way a few times next year. But I saw a lot of people complaining about that whole deal of 1 time run and things like that. But what's the other thing about Roxborough is it seems like to me that they always have a gamblers race and testing tune on Friday. So if you need to make some runs, take a day off work. I know that's not an option for some people. I'm just saying, if you can, take a day off work, get up there, make your test hits, run the gamblers race, and they still give you a time run on Saturday. And then I think they said they'll still give a new entry time run on Sunday, which just like everywhere else does. I just don't see the problem with that, man. I just want to go up there, and I think a lot of time is ate up by time runs. So why are we giving double entries an extra one? Because I thought we were worried about finishing the race, and the double entries are the ones that really want to finish the race usually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree at all, Casey. And again, I'm going to. We have all the tools we need in order to be consistent. Heck, Crew Chief Pro's out there for everybody. And I'm not just saying that because you see a Crew Chief Pro logo sitting here. I'm saying it because I use it. Okay, I can come off of the trailer, set up my weather station, and turn on Crew Chief Pro, and it will tell me, "Hey George, you're going to run a 597." Lo and behold, I ran a 596 with a 9. Okay, so that's anyway. I'll get off the bandwagon. I know you guys, everybody might not use it yet, but use it. Use it if you can do it. That if you don't have anything to upgrade this year, update your weather system. That's all I got. Anyway, let's move on because I think that this is Crew Chief Pro might be what it takes to win at Galot. I don't know, but seemingly that is
everything you can get.
Man, that is a really hard place to win. It reminds me of Extreme Raceway Park here. Honestly, pretty much everywhere here. Ardmore, Extreme Raceway, doesn't matter. You're gonna have to come on and put up some serious passes to win at Galot. I know it for a fact. I've watched it from a distance. I remember last year, Casey, it was last year where you were mentioning Michelle Pilo was unstoppable. Seems like she's still unstoppable to some degree as she was down low into the rounds with you, Scott. So what does it mean to win at Galot's Motorsports Park as far as for the feeling that you get from it? And then what does it take to put yourself in position to get a winner's circle out there in the first place?
I mean, to win at Galot, and it's basically like 5 minutes up the road from where I actually live at. And like I said, I grew up there. I grew up when it was the old Dunn Benson racetrack. So that ground at that racetrack only means a whole lot to me. It's actually years ago, I actually got a win, and when it was the old Dunn Benson track. And it's funny how everything, people tell you, time comes back around, things happen for a reason. Well, that first race I won back when it was Dunn Benson, I ran Michelle Pilo in the semis. And, I got lucky enough to get the win on her. Then I ran another friend of ours that lives in Florida now, Corey Penny. And the crazy part about it is Corey went red in the finals. I was 10 to the good. He went 10 on the red side. So coming back around and running Galot, running the Halloween race, once I started going and getting my rhythm down, I was like, okay, let's just take this round by round. And then when I got down there to 15 cars or 8 cars, to say the least, I was like, okay, this is getting serious. Mm-hmm. I said, we need to buckle down. And then once I got past, 8 cars and got down there to the semis, when I pulled up, I said, okay, who I was left? And I seen TG and I seen Blaine and I seen Michelle. And I said, could this happen again? And lo and behold, I had to run Michelle again in the semis. And she put me out of my lane. I've never run the left lane at Galot during a race ever. I've run it testing or time run, but actually physically in a race, I never run it. And when we made that pass, man, I got down there and that wind light come on, I said, "Oh man, is this going to repeat itself?" So we come back up to the finals, and it was me and Blaine. And when we staged and left, and I don't know if everybody else does it, but when I let go of the button and I leave, I look at the scoreboard until the car shifts. Until I get to half track, I'm looking at the scoreboard. And when I let go and I said, okay, we're both green, or I'm green, we're good. Then when I seen that wind light come on, I thought in my head, I said, do I let off? Or do I just run out the back door and let's see what it'll run? And in that second, I said, well, let's run it out the back door and let's see what it'll do. And then it didn't hit me until I come back to the trailer. I was like, wait a minute. What happened to me right then is the same thing that happened to me when I got my first win. I said, how crazy is that it comes back to, the same identical people in the semis, and the only person that changes is the person that you run in the finals. So it was just it was a crazy day, and Casey was coming by after every round, just keep it cool, just you're going on to the next one, just keep it rolling, and that's what I was trying to do. I didn't run around or nothing. I just kind of just stayed away from everybody and let everybody huddle around and talk, and I just stayed off in the corner to myself.
To yourself, yep.
And he had a shirt on that day, George. That was perfect. It said on the back, it said, "I came to party," and he got to.
The party.
So I think that shirt is going to be in my bag every race I go to from now on. And I
might need
that shirt.
Might need to get some extras.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to get some extras of that one.
And it would be a good one on the back of a GBR shirt. I was just saying, good slogans. I came to party would be nice on the back of a GBR shirt. We might have to make that happen, Casey.
But where are we going next, Scott? I was texting everybody this last weekend, and I said, they said, who was all going to Kinston or whatever. And I said, as far as I know, me and Scott. And they said, well, Scott's all fired up to go racing now. So you going to you going to go to Loose Rocker, or what are you doing?
I don't know yet. I've not really made up my mind yet. I got to talk with Dad, see, what he feels like doing, because it's like a team thing, and I kind of want to go to Loose Rocker, but then again I kind of want to go to Jacksonville, because with the way the weather's going to be the weekend, I know the car's going to be faster than I've ever been this year down there at Coastal. So I really ain't made up my mind yet to what I want to do. I told a buddy of mine, Brent, I said, no matter what, dude, I'll be at a racetrack somewhere on Sunday, because I have a family obligation on Saturday. I'll be somewhere at a racetrack, whether it be with the car or without the car. I'm gonna be somewhere hanging out on a Sunday.
That's pretty cool. Hey, Casey, where is Loose Rocker's event? Is it Rockingham? I think I missed it.
No, it's at Galot.
It's at Galot. I'm gonna shoot
yeah.
Back door. Where are you going, Casey?
I'm probably going to go to Jacksonville, but just on Saturday. We want to bring Will to go see Santa and stuff. So, yeah. But Jacksonville, I mean, it's $80 for top. Now it'll be me and Scott and all the rest dragsters, and Brent if he goes. So we'll have to hold it down for the door cars, hopefully, but because all door cars will be at Galot. But I mean, their local sponsor, I just can't remember who it is, but they're adding $1,000 to the purse. So for $80, you run for $4,000. That's a good deal on Saturday.
No brainer. Yeah.
So,
make sure you make it there. Yeah. Hey, you
Dad
brought a real mug.
Yeah, Dad told me the other day, he says, man, if I was 500 miles closer, I'd come run that. But then he just sold his orange car. So he said, yeah, Mark bought it.
I was fixing to say, I seen it on the internet today for sale.
Yeah, Mark bought it, and then Dad sent me a picture also earlier and said, now he's talking about buying this GTO also. So Mark's going to have 2 orange cars now, I guess. But or maybe, I don't know what the deal is with that other one, but we'll see. Anyway, but yeah, that race at Jacksonville is going to be a pretty good deal, and it's supposed to be 69 degrees on Saturday also, which about Thanksgiving time, you don't know how many times that's going to happen again.
That's a true statement there, man. Oh, you mentioned Will, and I figured it's a good time to ask this question. I heard you earlier say that your boy and Scott's boy are close to the same age. I smell a team. When's the juniors coming, guys? I mean, you both gonna have to build some juniors before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I got a couple more years on it. So, like I said, I got an 8-year-old daughter, and she wants to race. She's told me from time to time she wants to try it. But my wife's just like, no, she's not going to race. You got little man. So, you just wait for him. And then my dad's like, hey, when the kids start racing, your racing's got to stop. I said, well, I'm not ready to quit yet.
Yeah, right. Right.
And that's
I got
not
some more years.
that's not necessarily true. Whenever I was racing, see, the best thing, and this is something we've never talked about on here, George. The best thing that me and Dad always talk about that Gateway did, which is worldwide technology now, but me and George call it Gateway because that's what it is.
Yep.
But they had test and tune motorcycles and junior dragsters on Friday nights. And then they had big cars on Saturdays. Now, they didn't race Saturday and Sunday both, but junior dragsters, bikes, and test and tune on Friday. So then that way on Saturday, the dads could just focus on their own racing and things like that. And also, it was kind of cool because at that test and tune, that was whenever Nitro Coupe was big and Bill the Thrill Hill was out there, and Bill Coolman had come out time to time, and they'd have an Outlaw Quick 8 there, 8th Mile every once in a while, and they'd have DeFlorian had come out, and Big Drag had come down with Warren Johnson's old Pro Stock cars, and they'd round robin us though, because since it was the juniors there and it was just test and tune, it might have had street also, but junior dragsters, they would run, and then you'd come back around and you'd run right again. So every round was 2 rounds. So you would still get done at a decent time so the kids could go home and go to sleep. And then dads could go to sleep and come back the next day. So that's something that I feel like some of these tracks need to think about if they have the staff to make it happen, if they're already open anyway. But anyway, hopefully Scott will still be racing. I'll convince him.
Yeah, I'll
Those juniors can win money now, man, so you can live off him.
There you go.
So, Scott, man, we appreciate you getting on here with us and everything, but I know you got a long list of people to thank, man. So who do you got to thank before you get off here?
I mean, biggest person to start off with is my dad. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. Also, a lot of my friends that are older than me that I look up to, I appreciate everything that they've done for me. Brent, for being there for me, the whole day on Sunday and really every weekend that we all go racing together. We're there for both each other. My wife, my mom, my 2 kids for putting up with it. For me going and just, giving them heart attacks when I get down, into the car counts, and, just really just friends and family, man. I mean, without them, you don't have nothing. So
that's right, man. And it's a lot to put up with. I know that we're always working on something, always traveling somewhere, always having something crazy happen. So if you don't have your family behind you, it makes things real tough. So it's nice to, because we don't see it that much where a lot of people are all on the same team as far as everybody wanting to go and everybody being a family at the track and everything. So whenever you do see that, you always see how much easier it is. And luckily us 3 at least are in that scenario. So we got to all thank our wives and families for that, because it makes things a whole lot more fun.
Yeah, that's a 100% fact, Scott. It was nice meeting you for the first time virtually, getting a chance to shoot the shot with you as far as for bracket racing goes. And hopefully, man, one of these days we'll all line up at the same track and meet each other somewhere down in the final round and have a good time of it. You know how that goes. And for everybody for joining in and watching, we can't thank you guys enough. And stay tuned, because there's a lot more coming. That winter series is about to kick off here before you know it, where we'll do our best to bring the hot topics of the winter up, and I'll highlight a lot of talk around the cancellation of races going on here lately. So you may catch open discussion surrounding that thought, but you can't catch it unless you're here with us on Tuesday. Thus, for now, and on behalf of Going Bracket Racing, we will see you guys next Tuesday. Have a good one. Thanks for joining us.